HDR in Starfield is now much better after the latest patch, and with changing just one setting in the game and using one feature on our LG OLED TVs, we can make it even better. Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. This video is purely for LG OLED owners like the LG CX or in my case the LG G2, and the reason is because we're going to use a feature called fine-tune dark area settings to make this game look even better after the latest patch. So also I made sure that my recommended settings here, what I'm going to use, counts for or they are applicable for the PC version and also for the Xbox Series version. Let's start. So first of all, this game supports the HDR system level calibration on Windows 11 and also on the Xbox Series, but just up to 1000 nits. That means if you're using an LG G3 with a maximum peak brightness of around 1400-1500 nits, you miss out a couple of nits. After the latest patch, we have now a couple of settings where we can adjust the HDR picture, but I would strongly recommend do not touch the brightness setting and do not touch the contrast setting. Leave brightness set to 2.4, which is the standard factory setting, and leave contrast set to 0, which is also the standard factory setting. And the reason is quite simple. As soon you change one of those settings, you make the picture actually look worse. And in Germany we have actually a word for this, which is verschlimmbessern, and this means that when you change something you make it just worse, and I explained this already in detail in my last video. So again, I would not recommend to change brightness and contrast. The only setting what you should change in this game is the HDR brightness setting, which is set to 0.80 on my PC and my Xbox by default, and I would strongly recommend to just increase this to 1 to get the maximum out of HDR in this game. And even after the latest patch, we still have an issue with the HDR black level floor in this game. There is no setting in the game where we can fix the HDR black level floor, and trust me, I tried all different combinations. You will have always a raised HDR black level floor in Starfield. And the only way to fix the HDR black level floor, and fixing is actually not possible if there's already an issue on the source, but the only way to make it less washed out is by using the fine-tune dark area setting on our LG OLED TV. So now it depends on what tone mapping, what HDR tone mapping format you're going to use. If you use HGIG or Dolby Vision on the Xbox Series, then set the fine-tune dark area setting to -22. If you're going to use dynamic tone mapping on, set the fine-tune dark area setting to -30. So let's talk about HGIG, dynamic tone mapping on, or Dolby Vision. So keep in mind there's no native Dolby Vision support in this game, but of course you can activate Dolby Vision on the Xbox Series X or S, and you can play this game in Dolby Vision with HDR10 metadata. Okay, again, no Dolby Vision native support. So let's focus for now on HGIG versus dynamic tone mapping on. My recommendation would be HGIG, because in situations like this, dynamic tone mapping on is actually making the picture way too bright in my opinion. Dynamic tone mapping off, as always, is a very bad idea, because you lose a lot of specular highlights actually in specular highlights. That's how it is. So again, HGIG is my recommendation. You can also use Dolby Vision, but again, you can't expect a very big difference, because Dolby Vision in this game is also using the HDR10 metadata. That means you have, in regards of HDR, you have a very similar picture. The only difference probably is that Dolby Vision is displayed slightly different on the LG OLED TVs compared to HGIG. Most likely Dolby Vision will show you a little bit of a brighter picture, but that's it. Again, my recommendation is HGIG. Okay, so let's just quickly summarize what we talked about. Make sure the HDR system level calibration in Windows 11 and also on the Xbox Series is set up correctly to make sure you have the best or the highest peak brightness and specular highlights. Do not touch the in-game settings, contrast and brightness. Do not touch it, because you make the game look worse in my opinion. The only setting what you should increase is the HDR brightness setting. Increase this to 1.0. Then, in addition, you have to use, or you should use, the fine-tune dark area settings. Make sure that you enable VRR in order to use the fine-tune dark area settings. Otherwise, they have no impact on the picture. When you use HDRG or Dolby Vision, set the fine-tune dark area settings to -22. If you use dynamic tone mapping on the LG OLED TV, then use the fine-tune dark area setting set to -30. And that's it. Enjoy this great game.